Hi everybody, Al Bernstein here with my preview of what I think should be a terrific welterweight encounter on July 27th in San Antonio, Texas, between former champ Andre Berto and the very tough and exciting veteran Jesus Soto Karass. Now, there are bigger fights in the landscape of boxing in previous months and coming up, but this is one I think that is a sleeper. It's not to be overlooked. Yes, it's true, Berto and Soto Karass come into this fight with some losses recently, but they are fighters who desperately need a win, and they are fighters who have a terrific style matchup, and both are very exciting to watch. For the 29-year-old Berto, who comes in with a 28-2 record, yes, he's lost 2 of his last 3 fights, decision losses to very good fighters, Robert Guerrero and Victor Ortiz. He's only fought 3 times in the last 2 years. Injury issues and contractual issues and a failed drug test have contributed to that. For Andre Berto, this fight is absolutely necessary for redemption and necessary for him to stay in the mix as a contender in the welterweight division, and a win here could very easily vault him into a major welterweight match. For 30-year-old Jesus Soto Karass, who has fought at both 154 and many times at 147 as a welterweight, he had a very tough loss to Marcos Maidana 2 fights ago, but a fight in which he distinguished himself and at a couple of moments had Maidana in genuine trouble. But he came back in his last fight and performed exceedingly well, beating Selçuk Aydin, who had been a top contender in the welterweight division and who gave Robert Guerrero a very tough fight over 12 rounds. That was an upset win for Soto Karass, and that's what landed him this fight against Berto. Yes, he is 3-5-1 in his last 8 fights. You might look at that and say, well, what's the fuss about? Why is he even in this fight? Well, if you've seen Soto Karass fight, you know that he is a tough cookie. And one of those losses was a terrible decision to Mike Jones. The Maidana fight was fantastic, even though he ended up losing, and he is a fighter you want to look at in the ring. Well, that brings us to our keys to victory. For Berto, he's got to try and straighten out his punches. When he throws wide punches, that's when he gets himself in trouble and gets countered. He needs to keep those punches as straight as possible. The jab is very important for him. In many fights, he underuses this punch, and it doesn't set up what is a very good straight right hand. He's got to stay off the ropes. Against Guerrero, this was especially a problem for Andre Berto, and to some extent also against Ortiz. When he gets on the ropes, he tends to get battered. He's got to keep this fight in the center of the ring. As for Soto Karass, well, he too needs the jab, but in his case, it's really important that he establish it early. When he does that, it sets the tone for him, and it allows him to be a little bit more of a boxer-puncher, not just a brawler. He needs to get Berto against the ropes. If he can do that, he has the ability to take that step back. He's got a long reach and blast him to both the body and the head. And for Soto Karass, and this really applies to Berto too, he's got to think defense. Oftentimes, he just ignores defense, gets himself into a slugging match, as he did against Maidana, and sometimes the results are not good for him. So this fight is one that I'm really looking forward to, and as I said, maybe it doesn't have the glitz and glamour of some of the other fights that we've just seen or going to see, but it's very important for these 2 fighters and will have an impact, a big impact, on the welterweight division. Now, this fight will be shown in the United States on Showtime. I'll be privileged to be ringside to see that, and I hope you'll all tune in to see this match. I think it's going to be a good one.